Hello everybody, I'm Shannon, and guess where I am? I'm in Africa, and this is my first time here, and it's so awesome to be here, and I just gotta tell you, for any of you guys that haven't been to Africa, you should definitely come. It's so interesting because for so many years I really resisted coming to Africa because of voodoo. And I'm not kidding, I'm actually being sincere. I knew that there was a whole sort of like spirit thing going on here that I didn't know how to handle. And I have been, doing talk to entities for a long time, and I know how to handle a lot of stuff with spirits, and I just wasn't sure what was going to go on in Africa. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be like zombie voodoo, and I know this sounds silly for a lot of you guys that might know Africa and have been to Africa, but it really was a consideration for me. And in coming to Africa, I have been so pleasantly surprised, at least in the place where I am now, how peaceful it is here. And it's been really interesting to perceive the spirit world here because it is different than anything I've ever seen before. I did have a night a couple nights ago where this really crazy-eyed being came, and I was just like, who are you? And it was the first time I'd ever perceived an entity like this. And it was because it's very specific to Africa, and different cultures have different kinds of entities, just like different cultures are different, and people from different cultures are different. And so when this being showed up, I was like, hello, first I was aware of it. It was kind of a little bit of a rascal, and kind of like, it wasn't a bad guy, it just wasn't all that comfortable for me to be around him. And so I said, hey, it's like, you need to get out of here. And he was like standing in the door with his googly eyes, and finally I got him to leave, and it was just this really interesting exercise in dealing with an entity that I wasn't familiar with, and I didn't really have the ability to communicate with initially because he wasn't like any other entity I've dealt with before. And so this is what we deal with in Talk to the Entities a lot, is learning how to be aware and learning the language of different entities. Spirit, tree, people, this is something that we develop as we go through our lives, hopefully, is the ability to keep updating, to keep learning, to keep adjusting and being open to new awareness. So have you stayed open to new awareness? Have you fixed yourself in the way that reality should be or needs to be? And does that obscure your capacity for a difference in awareness? And so I invite you to look at what else you could expand in your zone of awareness that might bring in a lot of information that you might not be aware is there right now, that you may or may not know what to do with or how to handle initially. But knowing how to handle something is different than being aware. And if we shut off our awareness because we don't think we know how to handle something, does that expand the consciousness of the universe, or does that only limit our possibilities? And so in my being willing to acknowledge this strange googly-eyed spirit, I was able to establish a new frequency of energy that has contributed to my own toolbox and has given this spirit the awareness that it can't just come into people's rooms at night and googly eye them in their beds. He knows now he has to have more manners. And so I worked with it, he worked with me, reluctantly, but he worked with me, and now he has manners. He doesn't just come in my room at night, right? And so that being has also become more sane because of my willingness to acknowledge what I know, not say I'm crazy, but go, I see you. I see you. What is this? And work with it as I discover what it is, rather than concluding what it is, judging what it is, and deciding that it's good or bad. And so all of the spirits in Africa are now free to be themselves. And what would it take for us to be free to be us, so that when the spirits do show up, we know what to do, we know how to work with them, and we're not controlled, dominated, or manipulated out of awareness by our awareness of the spirit world. And so what do you know? What are you capable of? And what more could you release or destroy and uncreate that might be narrowing down or obliterating the zone of awareness that makes you the great awareness of awareness unit we truly be. Welcome to a whole new world. Welcome to consciousness. And welcome to going beyond.